Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Friday, August 21st. This is Gina McGuire. Winds will continue increasing today across the Great Basin along with low relative humidity as the dry cold front approaches from the north. These winds will be most problematic over the northern areas of the Great Basin, especially in Idaho where we have ongoing fire activity. Also, yesterday we saw some isolated thunderstorms over parts of Utah, and we will continue to see that threat again today, mainly in the higher elevations of the Utah mountains. These thunderstorms may also linger into the weekend before spreading north and west. Looking at yesterday's observations with lightning and precipitation, isolated thunderstorms occurred over southern Utah and just over the Nevada border with only very light amounts of precipitation. This activity today may build further north over the Utah mountains. Over the last 7 days, not much precipitation has occurred across the Great Basin with the exception of parts of southern and the eastern half of Nevada into southwest Idaho. Yesterday, only light fire activity was reported across the Great Basin with a few small fires over the west central and central Idaho mountains. The water vapor satellite image from this morning shows high pressure over the southern Great Basin. However, an area of low pressure in southwest Canada will continue dropping south, and this will push a dry cold front through the northern Great Basin, and also ahead of this front is where we'll see our stronger winds today. There are red flag warnings out across much of the northern half of the Great Basin for these gusty winds and low relative humidity. And correspondingly, the significant fire potential map shows that wind threat with dry conditions as well. Looking at the surface conditions, relative humidity will be lowest across Nevada and western Utah, where relative humidity will drop into the single digits, but it will still drop into the teens elsewhere across the Great Basin and be somewhat marginal over southeast Idaho into western Wyoming and in the mid to upper teens. However, this is also where the strongest winds will be, where we'll likely see wind gusts above 40 miles per hour. Over the rest of the Great Basin, we'll see wind gusts generally 30 to 35 miles per hour, with also some gusty winds along the Sierra front. As we move into this weekend, this area of low pressure will move well to the east, with a significant decrease in winds by Saturday across the Great Basin, as high pressure over the southwest starts to build north. This will also allow that moisture to remain trapped over parts of Utah near the Nevada border through Saturday and into Sunday. Therefore, we will continue to see some isolated thunderstorms over parts of the higher elevations of Utah as we move through this weekend. Temperatures will cool more significantly later today as that cold front moves through the northern Great Basin and remain cool on Saturday, with highs only reaching the low 70s in the higher elevations and the low to mid 80s in lower elevations of Idaho. However, temperatures will still remain warm further south. As we move into Sunday and that ridge of high pressure builds further north, it will keep dry air over much of the Great Basin, with the exception of parts of Utah, which may still see a few isolated thunderstorms on Sunday as well, before a more significant increase in moisture on Monday. As we move into early next week and that moisture starts pushing further north, we'll see a little bit more lightning activity over parts of southern Utah and possibly into southern Nevada by Monday. However, on Tuesday, that greater push of moisture will occur over especially Utah, southern and eastern Nevada, where thunderstorms will likely be transitioning to wet. However, we do have a weak disturbance moving in southwest flow over western and northern Nevada on Tuesday into Wednesday, and these thunderstorms may be on the drier side and be faster moving as an area of low pressure is located off the coast. So we will continue to monitor any lightning activity returning on Tuesday and Wednesday to western and northern Nevada and into Idaho, as this would be the better chance where thunderstorms would be on the drier side with gusty winds. Further east, lightning will be more plentiful across Utah and eastern and southern Nevada as we move through the middle of the week. However, again, these thunderstorms will have much deeper moisture and be on the wetter side. As we move later in the week, we may see that moisture push further north into Wyoming and Idaho for some better chances of wetting rains over northern areas. As you can see, the significant fire potential will be moderating, especially over the eastern half of the Great Basin next week as that moisture moves north, but still may be low to moderate, especially as thunderstorms initially return to western and northern areas. Looking at the forecast precipitation amounts, again, fairly light precipitation is expected with any thunderstorms through Sunday, but as we go through next week, we'll likely see some moisture increase as we go through Tuesday and especially later in the week across Utah. However, again, lesser amounts of precipitation are expected over Nevada and Idaho. Looking at the fire danger indices, ERCs have been increasing with the warm and dry weather and are most critical still over the central and west central Idaho mountains into southwest Idaho and northern Nevada. However, over the rest of the Great Basin, ERCs have increased to at least near normal. Live fuel moistures continue to decrease and are near to below normal across the Great Basin. If we look a little bit further ahead at the last week of August into the first week of September, we may see more low pressure troughs move into the west, and this will allow for below normal temperatures, but also breezier conditions over western areas. And this will also allow for generally near to below normal precipitation. We may see some areas of above normal precipitation in the far north, closer to the areas of low pressure. That concludes the briefing for today. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Thank you for listening.